Morning everyone, just trying something new this morning. I've picked up a 35mm Panoramic Adapter Kit for my Mamiya 7 II. So basically this is a medium format camera, but this kit is a 35mm adapter, so I can use 35mm film in my medium format camera and shoot a panoramic. So you can kind of see there that that's panoramic shape shot on 35mm film, and it gives me a 65 by 24mm frame. So this kit is something I've been looking at for a while now. There don't seem to be a huge amount of them around, but they're quite, you know, every so often they come up on eBay, and that's where I pick mine up. And they're a little bit niche. Once that adapter kit goes in the camera and I load it up with 35mm film, that's it. I have to shoot panoramic. I don't have the choice to sort of shoot any other format, 35mm. It has to be that panoramic format until the film is finished. So I'll show you how it all fits into the camera, because basically you have to fit this panoramic mask, and then your 35mm film goes in the film spool, and then you have like a take-up spool, and yeah, so I'll show you what you do. So basically you have to open up the camera and get this mask in first. Now this mask, this is a really well built bit of kit actually, and the mask just goes in. There's a little bit of flex to it, so you slightly flex it and then it goes under those two rails there, and that's it securely in. So that's in there, and then with you have to change this pressure plate at the back. So I normally have it on 120 when I'm shooting 120 film, but if you're shooting 220 film or 135, which 35mm, you have to change the pressure plate. So you spin that round, so you've got the white dot matching up with the 135, and then you have to put your film into the film spool. So that top goes in that top part, and then that spring loaded, and that goes in there. So once that engages with the holes at the bottom, so you open it up and that goes in the top. It just gets loaded up like any normal film, and then the film gets pulled across and gets threaded into the take-up spool. So you wind the film advance on, and you make sure that the film is located between these four little grooves here. You've got two here and two here. That's fine, that's in. And then you make sure that this is pushed over to there, because that's going to hold it in place. And you close up the back, and then you wind it on until you get to number 1, and then you're ready to go. So I'm just mindful that obviously I'm shooting panoramics. I've got this long thin frame, and so I need to have elements in that composition that are kind of linking everything together. So I'm quite happy to have sort of negative space, but then I need little elements that I can just pick out that make it work as a panoramic. So with this shot, I'm focusing on the trees on the left-hand side in these apple trees in the orchard, and they just naturally just sweep away. There's obviously been planted in these structured rows, and they drop away, and the fog is helping to just drop away into nothing. But there's just this slight hint of the trees on the boundary edge of the field here, just coming into the shot on the right hand side. So just trying to balance it up by having something on the left and the right, just to make it a bit more structured. Come on, Bunch. Oh, he's yeah, good lad. Come on. So I'm going to add an orange filter to this. I don't have any neutral density filters, but this has got about 1.5 stops. So yeah, it's getting brighter and brighter, and I've only got 1/500th of a second shutter speed on here. So must remember, because I've added the filter, I'll have to put it on the exposure compensation because it's not TTL metering. So if I'll add in 1 1/3 stop. I'll go slightly over, and then I can still shoot on aperture priority and just choose my aperture. Right, I can tell that fog is starting to burn off. You can see me squinting away now. That sun is popping through, and that sky's getting bluer by the minute. It's looking beautiful, but that is going to burn off. We are forecast to have a blue sky day, no clouds, and that's not kind of what I want. So I'll try and get the last few shots while we've got a bit of hazy fog still lingering. So with this being a rangefinder, the closest focusing is only about a metre. So I've racked it to a metre, and then I've actually kind of found where that metre is by moving in and out, focusing on the middle of the spider's web there. And actually it's a good thing about sort of shooting a panoramic, because I can put my hand down to shield the sun and I can see it coming into the frame, but I've got the crop marks of what the panoramic image is in the viewfinder, so I can see my hand coming in, but it's not actually going to cut into the frame. It would do if I was obviously shooting 120. So yeah, it looks nice. It's just this is such a lovely spider's web. I just needed a fairly dark background to make it stand out. So you always think of these panoramics as being landscaping composition, but I might just have a look at that as an upright. So I'm going to give this a go. This shot of this tree perfectly reflected in the lake here. It's a tall, narrow shot. I'm not particularly keen on the panoramics in the upright sort of format, but I just want to give it a go. I can't get any further back, and when I framed it up I was just losing the top of the tree and the bottom and the reflection. So apparently at infinity focus you're supposed to see 83% of what you see in the frame lines in the camera, so we may get it in, we shall see. So I think I'm going to finish up with this. Hopefully I've still got one shot on here. You're supposed to get 16 shots on a roll of 36. So I will finish up here and then I'll show you the rewind process and the other film. Okay, we may or may not have that, but right, let's get rewinding. So to get the film out, you need to use this little rewind crank, and you stick it in there and it screws in the tripod socket and lines up there, and clamp it down, and then you make sure that's engaging with the cassette spool, and you press that button and that releases the take up spool, and then you just rewind. When you feel it, just release. There. And you can take that off and take the film out. And there we are. Okay. So the weather has brightened up considerably. It's blue sky now, no clouds in the sky or anything, so totally different from how it was earlier in the fog. I love shooting in the fog. It was really good to do that earlier on today. And yeah, no, it was good to put a roll through that panoramic adapter. Yeah, I'm not going to be using it all the time, but yeah, it was a nice change, and it means I can use my bulk roll film and go for something a little bit different. And it really does make you think with the yeah, making sure all the elements kind of mean something in such a wide format. So yeah, well, let me know what you thought of the photos. It's always good to hear your comments. And yeah, if you've got anything out of it, please like this video and share it and all that sort of stuff, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.